Who has access to your online life? If something happened tomorrow, would you be locked out of how to access your life online? Maybe you're coming here from a previous video of mine on the 50 plus series. The first one was about how to get control of your financial life. This one is how to get control of your online life. Maybe you're trying to log on to your bank account and you click, 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 and the password is not valid. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I don't remember it right, or where did I write it down? Or maybe your partner changed the password and didn't tell you. Or maybe, gosh, maybe the worst has happened. Your partner has become unavailable. Let's just say he or she was in the hospital. You need to make sure the mortgage is paid or the electric bill is paid. So you get online, and that's normally not something you do, your partner handles, but you think, okay, I can figure this out. You just stop right away. You don't know what your password is. You don't know what your username is to start with. So you start, kind of chugging around, looking in drawers. Maybe you thought, oh, he writes this down in a booklet over here. You try that and it's not updated. Does any of this sound familiar? Or maybe you're the one who you were accessing something, and we all get those dreaded little messages saying it's time to change your password. You're like, oh my gosh, it seems like I just did. But you change it and you think, I'm going to write it down or I'm going to tell my partner. That doesn't happen because maybe you were in your car on your phone. Who knows? It just doesn't happen. I hear about that all the time. That means you don't have access to your online life. This is not about blame, like, how do you not know this? It's about getting confidence back, about empowering yourself, allowing you access to your life. Because if you think about it, almost everything we have is online now. Our bank accounts, our credit card statements, our mortgage or our rent portal, medical records, everything is online. I know so many smart, capable women, but they don't have access to any of this information. Maybe you're thinking, I kind of delegated this to my partner, or maybe the partner has always been the one to handle it. It's just the way it is. That's not disempowerment, but you not knowing how to get the access is. You need to empower yourself to figure out, how can I access this and what do I need to access? Let's start with, how do you gain access? Why do women avoid this? Because let's be honest, it's typically women. Sometimes it's men. So I hope if you're a man and this is you, I hope you're watching this, but I am just talking about women. Sorry. It does apply to men, but the majority of the time it is the women. It's just because that's the way life has happened. You kind of divided and conquered. You handle one thing, the partner handles another thing, and that's just the way it is. Some of these payments, by the way, are automatic. They're coming out of your bank account. You may not know which ones those are. A lot of times women don't want to handle this because it's kind of overwhelming. They're thinking, oh, I just don't want to deal with this right now. I'll deal with it another day. Then that day comes and it's not a good day. You're probably very stressed out because that day is here. You're hoping someone else can help you, but who's going to be the person to help you? If you don't know your passwords, if you don't know what's online, how is your adult kid in another state going to know that information? If you can at least control this piece and know how to get access to your online life, you will feel so much better. You'll sleep better at night. You'll feel more confident and more empowered. That's my entire goal here. It's to provide you peace of mind. Let's first talk about how to know your passwords. Then I'm going to talk about maybe the things you need to know that are online. Easy enough. We're going to keep this pretty simple, straightforward. Password managers. Have you heard about these? There are a lot out there. A lot of people are a little distrustful of them. I've got to tell you, I was too. I have been using a password manager for I don't know how many years now. How many years? It was a game changer for me. It makes my life so much easier. But I was very distrustful. I did so much research just because that's the kind of person I am, because I thought I didn't really know how they worked. I'll be honest with you. I thought, what if they have all my passwords and then they get hacked? I wanted to make sure I was finding one that had a good reputation. Nothing is certain in this world, right? I'm going to talk about one that I use, but a lot of them are like this. Okay. I'm going to talk about the one I use. I'll have a link to it in the notes below. And full disclosure, I believe I'm an affiliate with them. I've got to check into that. I don't even know. I'll put a link down there no matter what. I have been, I thought, an affiliate with them for years and years because I've told a ton of people about this, but I've never used that feature. I just tell people, go check this out, but I will put the information below. See, I need to get a control on that. That's something I need to do is say, okay, are you an affiliate? Or if not, it's okay. I want to make sure I give you that information. I want you to know there are other companies out there as well. I use a company called LastPass. I guess it stands for, last password, because really the only password I ever have to know is one. One. Now it's a difficult one. No joke about that. But guess what? I know the password. My husband knows the password. The time we went into LastPass, our daughter was either in middle school or high school. She's 25 now. There's a way to share things with them. On LastPass, this is how it works. I'm going to try to simplify this as much as possible. And I'm going to think about what I was worried about. In a nutshell, a password manager stores all of your passwords. I know I have hundreds of passwords out there for the dumbest things, I think. I'm like, I have to have a password for this? Oh my gosh. It stores all of them for you. To access this, LastPass has a vault. That's what they call it, the vault. That's where all your passwords are. To access it, you just put in your one password. That's it. It also will create very difficult passwords for you. You know, the ones like lowercase g, uppercase Z, 57, exclamation point, and it goes on and on and on. The one you could never remember. You would like to have that because that's a really difficult password. Well, it creates those for you and can store them for you as well. This is so much safer than writing it down on a piece of paper, or how about one of those notebooks that are so cute, but they say passwords on the front of them. So if you ever get broken into, someone can, take that. I hope that never happens to you, but they'll say, oh, here are their passwords. Let's get their laptop. I don't know. I don't know if that's how robbers think, but just so you know, I don't know if I'd want to be carrying around a book that says passwords on it. The thing is, we used to do that. And it was only as good as the person putting the information in. We would have mark out, because they would always say, change your password. So we'd mark it through and try to think of one again that would be good. Sometimes we didn't share it with each other, my husband and I. It was a mess. It was a mess because I'd have to remember if I was in my car and I was trying to get into our bank account, it's like, oh, it's time to change your password. I would change it. I would say, okay, I've got to write that down. I've got to tell my husband. And it didn't happen because I forgot about it. Then he tries to get in it a month later, whatever, and he can't do it. He's like, well, what was the password? I'm like, I don't know. So we have to try to reset it. They send you all these codes. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. If you can imagine this, what if that person, in my case, my husband, wasn't available one day? I'd be like, what did you do? Did you change it? He's not there to answer those questions. It would just add to my stress all around. It's not safe to have your passwords just sitting somewhere at all. If you have them online, I kind of clamp down in a reputable password manager company, it's so much safer than just writing it down on a piece of paper or trying to remember it in your head. You'll try to say, I'm going to use the same password for everything, which they highly recommend you don't. One time, one person who does this kind of thing can figure out that password. Well, that probably means they're going to try it on other sites in case you're using the same password. A lot of people are guilty of using the same password because you want to remember it. The password manager holds them all together in this vault. So how does this work? Okay, I have this password manager on my laptop. I have it on my phone. I have it on my iPad. I have it anywhere I access accounts or websites. I also can set up these passwords in folders. So our folders, we have a family plan. Our folders are for me, for Karen, for my husband, my daughter. Then we have a family folder. Then we have a folder just for my husband and myself. Why do I have all these passwords separated out? If you think about it, for me, let's say I have a password for Chico's. Is my husband ever going to access the Chico's website? I sincerely doubt it. So he could care less. So I just keep it in the Karen folder. He could get in if he wanted to because he has access to the master, right? He doesn't need to see that. Now, he may have a website for the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, if you're not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. That man has been a fan. He grew up in Dallas. It's in their blood, and he struggled for over 30 years with them. Feel a little sympathy, right? Anyway, I don't want to access the Dallas Cowboys website, so he could keep that in his folder. Our daughter, this really hit home because someone told me that their daughter was in the hospital and it was very serious. She was unconscious. They had no access to her phone, to her email. They needed to get certain things. They didn't know what her passwords were. There was no way for them to get it. So we said, that's us too. I don't know what her passwords are, especially now that she's 25. She puts them in her folder. Actually, she really likes it. We were just talking about this the other day. I said, are you still accessing LastPass? She's like, well, of course. And it saves us. It saves us. So she has stuff in her folder. Our family dynamic is such, I don't think I've ever accessed her folder. Thank goodness, because that would mean something happened and I would need to do that. She knows we're not in there. Why do I need to look at that? Really, seriously. If something were to happen, we had access. She knows she can access ours as well. We have that kind of relationship. So just keep that in mind. So she has her own folder. Then there are folders that just myself and my husband have access to: our bank account, our credit cards, our utility companies, all those kind of things that we both need access to. Amazon. We use one account for Amazon. My daughter has her own Amazon account. I don't even know what it is, but I'm sure it's in LastPass. So all of those are in my husband's folder with me. Then we have a family folder, and we used that a lot when our daughter was in college, because she was accessing the Amazon. She was accessing Netflix. I know you weren't supposed to do that probably back then. I don't know. She was accessing that to get the passwords, and she could do that. So it's stuff that all three of us need. It all depends on your dynamic. So we have all of those different folders, and that's where those passwords are located. You can also go into the all passwords if you wanted to, but you would have to be, the master of that LastPass. It's just a way to organize it. How does it work though? Let's say I have decided I want to go to Crate and Barrel. Maybe they make me sign up. I'm sure they do. You sign up for Crate and Barrel, you put in your email, you put in a password. Well, automatically, once you have LastPass on your laptop, let's say you're on your laptop, it's going to ask you, is do you want me to save this in LastPass right when after you've put everything in? And you will say yes. It will know, and you can say what folder you want it in. I'll put in Crate and Barrel, whatever my email address is, whatever password I want to use. They will recommend one for you if you want to use that. And it's going to be a difficult one, but you can put that in. And then there'll be a little red square. I'll see if I can put a screen print in here. There'll be a little red square that will pop up. You can click on it, and it automatically will autofill your username and your password automatically, because LastPass is connected to your laptop. It will also update that for your iPhone or your Android, wherever else you have this. It's going to speak to each other on all the devices. Let's say I'm sitting in my car and I need to access my bank. I'll just click, the bank, or maybe I have the app. I automatically click on username, and it will want to autofill it from LastPass. I can just do that. It will automatically fill the username and the password. They may prompt you and tell you this password is in a data breach. You might want to change it, or it will tell you you've used this too many times, or it will say, do you want to reset it to a more difficult password? It's up to you. But I could be sitting in my car and just automatically get access to my bank account. I don't have to remember anything because I have LastPass on my phone as well. So that's how all of your passwords get into LastPass. Initially, yes, you're going to have to log on. And then every time you get onto something, it'll ask you, if you want to add that to LastPass. I always say yes, no matter what, because everyone needs an account now. It's all in LastPass. I don't think twice about it any longer. Now, to get into LastPass, to get into all of these passwords, that's where you have to use one difficult password. Here's a little tip. I'm sure maybe there are other tips. I know there've got to be other tips out there. When we were setting this up, we knew how important this password would be, and it needed to be difficult, but it needed to be something we could remember. That was the key, or we'd be locked out. We heard about this. You make a sentence up that would be important to you or to your partner, or if another family member is on this account as well, one that you can always remember. For instance, maybe it would be, I love Tony Romo as a quarterback. That would never be a sentence, I would say, but that's a whole nother story. But I love Tony Romo as a quarterback. Okay. Then put in some numbers that are important to you. Let's just say it's 11/12, like November 12th. Be put in some special characters at the end. That's not your whole password, but I love Tony Romo as a quarterback. That's 7 words. Take the first letter of each of those words. I love a, so it's IL Tony T Romo R A for as A Q. So ILTRAAQ. 11, 12, question mark, exclamation point. All right. The only thing people have to remember is I love Tony Romo as a quarterback, 11, 12, question mark, exclamation point. I know that sounds like a lot, but once you know that's the only password you ever have to remember, ever, it changes things completely. So that's how we kind of did ours. We have a really silly sentence, but I haven't forgotten it. My husband hasn't forgotten it. It meant something to all three of us. I know what it is because sometimes it does ask you to log in again to verify that you're really the real person that can access the vault. That is one thing I will say about LastPass. When I looked into them, they have a really good reputation. I think maybe they've been hacked. To be honest, I bet all of these password managers have been, but rarely, think about it. This is their business. So you want a really reputable password manager. There are a lot. There's some that are right there on your laptop. We wanted one that we could use on all of our devices. It didn't just need to be for a PC or a Mac, all these kind of things we looked into. We wanted one that we could share. We wanted the family plan. We wanted one that didn't break the bank. We knew this was super important. Right now, we don't write passwords down anywhere. If it says, okay, it's time to change your password, we go like, oh, fine. We change it, then it'll say, do you want to save it? It saves it. And we're like, yeah, of course. We say yes every time it asks if you want to save something. My daughter still uses it. We still have her on the plan. And I don't know what she's got in it, but she probably has stuff that we would never need access to, but she does, just like we have stuff that she doesn't need access to. So that's how we remember our passwords. That's how I have access to our online life. That's how my husband has access. That's how our daughter has access. Huge peace of mind kind of thing. So really look into a password manager. I hope I made it clear as mud, maybe, but I hope I explained it a little bit. Pick a reputable one. Make sure. I mean, I think that goes without saying, right? Pick a reputable one. Again, personally, I use LastPass. That's the only reason I'm giving a link. I don't give links to things I don't use, but that's why I'm putting it down there. Obviously, I may make something if you click on the link. I have no idea what that is because I've never used it. So maybe not. Whatever link I put down there, I may make something. I may not because I don't know if I'm still an affiliate, but I want to put a link in there so you'll see it. Password Manager's game changer. It will release so much frustration from your life. Trust me. Now, what are the items that you need to have access to? Right away, you're going to need access if something happened. You don't need access to the Dallas Cowboys website, right? You need access to your mortgage, if you have a mortgage, a rental portal, as I said, your credit cards. How do you keep the lights on? So your utilities, you need access to all of those kind of things. Your insurance policies, your medical records, maybe his or her medical records. The other thing you need to know, if you each have different laptops, how do you get into your partner's laptop? How do you get into their phone? How do you get into their email? Sometimes that's super important. It's one of the most frustrating things for people. I see it all the time where they are getting the notification to pay this bill through their email. If you can't access their email, you're not seeing that notification. Make sure you know how to access these type of things. Just think about it for like 5 minutes. Trust me. I'm not saying you need to manage it today, but you need to know how to access and how to get into these things. You need to know what happens to your partner's phone if they were, let's say, to pass away. So many people have been locked out of phones. I know for an iPhone, Apple doesn't mess around. You can't get in there at all. It's so frustrating. Make sure you know how to access their phone. There are even ways on Apple that you can be listed as I can't think of the word, what it is, like the contact or the person, if something were to happen to them, that is allowed to access their phone. It's a setting in your settings. You've probably seen that before. I don't know about Android. I would think they have the same kind of thing, but it's not often talked about with that. Make sure you know how to get into their phone, their email. It's not being distrustful, because a lot of people will say, I don't want to ask for that because it's going to look like I'm not trusting that person. Again, sit down with them and just explain it. Say it's a peace of mind. It's totally a peace of mind thing because what happens tomorrow. And it's not necessarily they have to be sick or they have a disease. Life happens. They could have be in a car accident and be in the hospital for 6 months. You just don't know. You just don't know. That's going to be stressful enough. Add on, you need to figure out how to keep your lights on, and you don't know how to access that bill. Is it coming automatically out of our bank account every month? You need to learn all of these kind of things, but take it one step at a time because it can sound like it's really overwhelming, but if you think about it, it's not. You're just learning how to access everything and what you need to access. The other item I want to mention here, you probably have heard me maybe using the cloud. What do I mean by the cloud? It's like I croaked that out, the cloud. The cloud is something like Google Drive. You probably heard of that. The iCloud, OneDrive. There are a lot of them out there. I think Amazon Prime has one as well. This is where you can store documents, you could store photos, you can store things forever that you can access from wherever you are. You could access it, and whoever you allow can access it as well. For instance, for us, we have our trust document in the cloud. I even have copies of my passports in the cloud. I have social security card in the cloud. I have the actual items in our safe, but I have them in the cloud as well, just in case, because you just don't know if something is going to happen. I always seem to need to know these things when I'm not at home. When I can't access a safe, I can just pull it out of the cloud and it's there. Years ago, we were moving to Arizona. This was probably 8.5 years ago from Colorado. Only child. So you can imagine how many photos we had, all of her art projects, all the awards, all those kind of things from her life growing up. We had our wedding stuff. We had photos that my mom had kept of family from way back when. We had all sorts of things. My husband had photos like that from his mom. We just had the physical copies. We weren't doing anything with these. I thought, what are we going to do? What I started doing was scanning a lot of these items. At the time, again, there's probably something much better now. I use Google Photo, I think it is. No, Google Scan, and scanned old photos. I took pictures of artwork, of awards because my daughter didn't want them. I don't think to this day she wants those. She's very much a minimalist. They're in Google Drive. I saved it all to Google Drive. I put all of our photos in Google Drive. A lot now are online, right? They're on your phone. When she was born, it was like 2000. So that wasn't such a big deal. And scrapbooking was a big thing. She never opened the scrapbooks. I never opened the scrapbooks. I put everything into Google Drive. Guess what? She can access everything because I made sure she had access. I made sure my husband had access. I organized the photos by year and then by month. Now, sometimes she'll need a baby picture. She doesn't have to come to me and I go dig one out. And maybe it's going to be the same one every time. She just goes to when she was 3 years old, let's say, or a baby when she was in 2000, and she'll pick a month. She'll go in there, she'll grab a photo. She never would have done that if they were still hard copies. I would still have the hard copies. If something happened to our house, we wouldn't have to worry about transporting those from the house if we had to evacuate or something. Worst case, you think about all this kind of stuff. Everything's in the cloud. Now, at the time I put it in Google Drive, for those of you who are really techy, you're going to say, what in the world was she doing? Google Photos was not a thing. I am in the process right now of cleaning up all of this, cleaning up my Google Drive, cleaning up the photos, iCloud, all this kind of stuff, and just making it a little bit cleaner. There are a lot of different companies, I guess, for lack of a better word, that have clouds, that have this online storage. It's basically a filing cabinet for you in the sky, as I say. It's in the clouds. You don't have to have paper. I remember the days when we would have filing cabinets full of this is our life insurance policy, this is blah, blah, blah. We have very little paper now, very little paper. It's all in the cloud. Can you imagine, let's say the worst happened and you're in the hospital with your partner and they need some medical record or they need something. You can't run home to the filing cabinet to get it. Maybe you could, but it's going to take a lot of time. You could just be on your phone and pull it up and send it to them, message it, email it to them, whatever they want. You'd have it automatically. Can you imagine? It's life changing. So, again, look into the cloud. It's just a really lifesaver. Maybe your partner isn't doing this either, or maybe they are. You need to learn about that. You need to learn then if they are doing it, what do they already have up in the cloud? So think about that. At this point, I don't want to overwhelm you because really, when you just think about it, this is all we've talked about is a password manager and the importance of finding one for yourself. We've talked about what items you might want to know about, such as your utilities, how are they paid? How do I get access to it? The cloud. You want to think about the cloud and storing things in a cloud. Whatever company you want to go with, maybe you'll use more than one. At this point, where do you start? Is this just overwhelming? Well, how about if you just take one thing at a time? Let's just say you think I need to learn how to get into my partner's laptop. Maybe that's not the best one, depending on your relationship. Or maybe you want to say, I need to make sure I understand our bank account and how I can access it. I need to figure out our mortgage, our life insurance policies. How do we access that? And maybe that leads to a discussion about a password manager with your partner. Once he or she realizes, oh, yeah, I got to tell her that the passwords are here written in this little secret code and I put it in the fourth drawer and, whatever, you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to remember this. I don't know how you remember this, but I think we should look into one of these password managers. The first thing may be, I don't trust those. What if they're hacked? Start doing a little research. It's amazing. It's amazing what's out there. I'd rather have that peace of mind that I have access to everything at any time with my password manager than I'm locked out of my life because I don't know the passwords. Or they've changed. I have no idea what they are. Maybe they're sending my partner an email to confirm that the password's being changed and I can't access the partner's email. Can you imagine all of this could just snowball and you're just going to lose your mind? If you just handle it one step at a time, one thing will lead to another. Maybe it becomes kind of a joint thing with your partner and it makes your partner's life easier as well. As I said at the beginning, you may have come from my previous video about how to get a handle on your financial life. And that one's not talking about investing or anything. My next one in the series is about how to get a handle on things that you might not be handling right now regarding your house, your cars, those type of things. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you go change your own oil or anything like that. It's just to empower you so you feel like if something happened tomorrow, I could handle that. That'll be the next in the series. There's 5 of them, 5 things that you want to get a handle on. So look forward to that. If you like this video, please share it with someone. You probably know someone who needs this information as well. I'd love to hear from you. Please write in the comments, subscribe to my channel. It really makes a difference to me and I appreciate it so much. Once again, the link for LastPass, whether it's an affiliate or not, I don't know, but it will be in the show notes below this video. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, please remember, it's never too late to change your life and make it into one that you love.